For this project, I thought I'd build a simple GoPro camera rig out of some plumbing pipe to take me down below the waterline for a fish's eye view of some lures in action.
That's pretty much the rig complete, to be honest. This is my lair. It's a little duckling I've been working on. It's just a prototype at the moment, so it's only roughly painted up. I'm going to tie that to the main arm here. Then I can take my GoPro. I've got a ball head here. This is a cheap Chinese import from eBay. I can just screw that onto the mount. This is a lighting bracket, again from eBay via China, another couple of £. I can basically clamp that in position, point the camera down. That's it basically. I'm going to attach a bar on here or a pole so I can pull it through the water. I can film down on top of it. I can turn this round and obviously turn the camera around and film the other way, so I'm filming from the bottom, the underside view. I can also move it up and down and kind of move this here so I can film at a 45-degree angle across it. The only thing I need to be aware of is the distance to here, because this is quite a wide angle lens, and that's why this is so near to it but also so far away from the camera. One final thing that worries me, and I think before I take this camera out and lose it, is I'm going to make my own version of this bracket. Basically this is a little, it's not loose, but I've got a feeling a good knock could kind of, there we go, pull it off. And if that's underwater, I'm not quite happy with that, especially losing someone else's camera. So I'm going to make my own version of this out of some PVC foam.
To make the clamp, I'm cutting down some 10mm PVC foam board into little rectangles. This type of board is normally used in sign making as it's light and relatively inexpensive. I've also used it previously to make some fishing lures. To turn the pieces into a thicker block, I'm going to use some super glue to stick 3 of them together, and then just leave it for half an hour under some weight. I've drawn up a design and a template on the computer, and I can just stick this into place with a bit of spray mount. To cut it out roughly, I'm using the bandsaw. And then I can move on to the disc sander to tidy things up. To mark the position of the bolt on the side, I'm using an engineer's square. And then I can just drill out a 6mm hole. On one side of the clamp, I need to make a slot to allow the bolt some movement when I'm tightening. And on the other, a wider recess to grip the bolt head. On top, I also need to drill a 5mm diameter hole. This is going to take a piece of quarter stud to attach to the ball head later. To cut the large centre hole, I'm using a very old expanding bit that fits into a carpenter's brace. And with the work clamped down and a sacrificial backing added, I can drill my way through. Then on the bandsaw, I can cut the slot that will allow the movement. I'm adding a 6mm bolt, washer and a wing nut to make it easy to turn. And sliding a couple of scraps of plywood into that gap, I can tighten up and draw the bolt head into the undersized hole to make it captive. For the camera mount, I'm adding a couple of drops of super glue to a piece of quarter imperial stud. Then using a couple of nuts I've tightened together, I can just screw this into the plastic. To use it, I need to slide it onto the pipe and then just tighten up a little. The ball head and GoPro can be added as previous.
So I'm just on the way to a local park, a little stream, just to give the rig a test. Hopefully it all goes to plan. To tow the rig, I brought with me an extending handle from a paint roller and just tied this onto the arch with a bit of string. Then I set up the camera and clipped on the duckling. I wanted to test how the rig ran with the camera above the water first, and it seemed to work well, but just with a bit more wake than I wanted. Then it was time to flip it over and get a fisheye view. It was really interesting to see the spinner blades, which I expected to kind of move from side to side, really weren't doing a whole lot, although they were making a bit of a noise. For some of the other layers, I found keeping them in shot a big problem, and that was really a combination of them being so close to the camera and also a lack of experience with the GoPro. The glide baits really didn't work at all with the camera and basically kept knocking into the rig. I managed to get some pretty good footage of a buzzbait, something I'd made for a video a long time ago, but never really seen from this angle. But to be honest, I really needed a little time to rethink the rig before coming back and having a retry. Overnight I made some changes. First of all, to get the lure a little further away from the camera, I added the tip section of a broken spinning rod. I simply held this in place with a couple of elastic bands that I cut from a bicycle inner tube. This made it really adaptable and also allowed me to use the lures on the opposite side from the outrigger. The new setup really worked well, and with what I'd learned from the previous day, I managed to get some much better shots and also spend a lot less time messing about. I've really got a lot to explore with this rig, but it should add just a bit more quality to some of the videos. And also give me some insights into what goes down under the water. At the moment I'm trying to post a video once a week and was wondering if there's a particular day and time that suits people. Maybe it doesn't suit at all and you kind of like a bit of randomness as to when I'm posting them. So if you've got some suggestions, leave a comment below and I'll be back sometime next week. Once again, big thanks to Matt Check of Mel Lures for letting me use his GoPro. Thanks for watching.